That thing right there might be the most legal project car we ever have on the channel. But the most exciting thing is it's our brand new 79 that we get to build up to tour Australia in a little under 2 months' time. We've got a lot of work to do, and in this episode I'm going to run you through exactly what needs doing and what our plans are. Okay, now before we dive into it, I figured I should clear the air. I would never go out and buy a 79 like this, I don't think. They're a lot of money, but they are cool cars. I just think there's better things out there. That being said, this is my missus' car, and there was no way in hell when she said, hey, do you want to go on a lap of Australia and take the 79? There's no way I was passing that up. But what I said to her was, give me the keys, give me a couple of weeks in Sydney. I want to transform this into a Sam Young worthy touring rig. And that's exactly what she has signed up to do. Now, a little bit about this car behind me. It is a 2018, I believe, 2019 dual cab graphite DPF model 79 series with the 4.8 turbo diesel in it. And it's absolutely a weapon. It's already got a couple of bits and pieces done to it, but nothing too major. And lucky for me, I got permission from her to give it the full Sam Young 4x4 treatment with all our favorite brands and accessories. Let's talk about exactly what we have in store. This big brick on wheels. Now, when it comes to touring mods, obviously a ute like this needs a mega canopy, and that is exactly what this thing has. Now, this is just a metal link canopy. I believe it's a relatively cheap service body, sort of industrial type canopy. And we were lucky enough that it actually already had a bit of a fit out in there. It had this upright fridge and it had a few other bits and pieces. Now, the Enerdrive Adventure system with the Simarine screen and all that sort of thing we put in there. It's also got a massive 200 amp hour lithium up at the headboard. This, I believe, is a 100 litre angle stand-up fridge, which we're going to keep in here as well. For now, I think we're going to try and keep this a little bit budget friendly, not go absolutely ridiculous like we have in all our previous builds. So we're going to keep the canopy on there. There's actually heaps of space. Look, it's got all the basic stuff. A pull-out table which you can actually access from both sides. Obviously we've got the spare tire on the back which will be getting swapped out to a full-size 35-inch spare. We also want to be putting a jerry can holder on here, so if you know where the bloody hell I can get one of those, let me know. I want something good, you know, something nice. Now we jump into this side of the canopy. As you can see, like I mentioned before, that table is actually accessible from both sides, so it doesn't actually matter what side you want to prep lunch on or who needs what, you can get it from here. Heaps of drawers, carpet, you got fencing on the headboard and stuff so you can mount stuff, a fridge cage. There's a bit of junk in here at the moment, buddy, don't worry about that. If you come down here, Rihanna's already gone ahead and put a twin ARB compressor in there as well, so that is very exciting, so we can pump up tires extra speedy. Now, it's important to remember that we will be traveling pretty much full time. Now, Rihanna works full time and I work full time doing this. And what that means is charging gear, camera stuff, laptops, sending off footage is all essential. So this big Enerdrive system here, we've got a 2000 watt inverter, we've got an air fryer, induction cooktop, coffee machine, but most importantly, we're gonna have to be able to charge all our stuff. So that's why we've gone ahead and gone a big lithium system, inverter, and all that sort of stuff. Shut that up. Now, up the top, already has a Pioneer or a Rhino rack platform, I believe, which is super cool. We're going to leave that up there. And we are going to be visiting our friends at Darche very soon. They're going to be putting on their brand new 1550 high-rise rooftop tent, which is the one that pops up once and then pops up again, so you have a stack of space in there. We're going to be doing a 270 freestanding awning, the same one that I've got on the 80 series, a Darche shower tent as well. Plus, we're going to put a massive 200 amp red arc solar panel on top of that rooftop tent to keep everything charged in there, because obviously with all that 12 volt gear, it's going to be sucking power. We don't want to run out of juice if we are parked up for a little while. Now, let's talk about the interior before I forget everything. Now, the interior of these things is basic. Ree has done a few bits and pieces. It's got one stone style armrests. It's got some Alpine door pods and speaker pods and that sort of thing. Inside the vehicle, we've got a GME XRS handheld. We've got a Red Arc Tow Pro Elite, and a head unit, some speakers, and a reverse camera. And honestly, that's about it. We're going to be chucking some super sick Light Force spotties on the front and replacing those camping work lights at the back with some other little Light Force work lights too. Automotive Superstore are going to be helping us wire all that up. We're also going to be putting a winch in the front bar because at the moment we've got that ARB commercial bar but no winch, so that's going to be a problem, especially if we're doing a big solo touring mission. In the car, Automotive Superstore are going to be hooking us up with sound deadening. Probably the most important thing you can do to a 79, because these things honestly sound like a toaster getting kicked down the Bruce Highway. Absolutely horrific. Coming down here, Automotive Superstore are also going to be helping us out with some brakes. I think upgrading the brakes on a 79 series, 76 series, or any heavy Land Cruiser is probably the best thing you'll ever do from a safety perspective, but also just making it a nicer car to drive. Now, at the moment, this thing barely stops at all, so I'm pretty freaking keen to swap those out. We're going to be doing a Bendix front end brake upgrade, braided lines, slotted rotors, better pads, the same in the back, but most importantly, most excitingly, is we are going to be doing the Bendix dual diaphragm booster, the same one that I've got in the 80 series, which is going to make a world of difference, I think. This car, when rebought it, had already had a lift kit fitted. 2-inch King springs, some EFS shocks, and some airbag bags in the back with just the sort of bicycle valve pumps. And long story short, it's fucking garbage. So obviously we had to do something about that. We're not going to go fully spastic with coilovers, but we are going to give it a refresh. We're going to leave the springs in there because at the moment it's handling the weight very nicely, and we're happy with the ride height, and we've got clearance for the tires. But what we are going to be doing is swapping out those shocks with some brand new Bilstein B60s, which are those 2.5-inch body, really nice, made in Australia, super sick and completely tunable shocks. We're going to be putting a set of those in on all corners. We're also going to be swapping out the Airbag Man airbag with a set of Polyair. But the exciting reason we're doing that is because the team at Bilstein Australia and Polyair and Heisman's do an onboard air kit, so you can actually use an app on your phone or a remote in the car to go up and down individually on the airbag on the fly when you're driving, if you're trying to set up camp, if you're towing or anything like that. So we're all about the living the Lux life with this car, so that is very exciting. We're going to be doing that. Hopefully that will all be happening very soon as well. God, there's a lot to talk about. This is the GXL model, so it's got the factory lockers already, front and rear. It's going to have a winch, it's going to have a lift, it's going to have 35s. I think it's going to be a very capable little vehicle. We should talk about what's going on under the bonnet though, because we're not just stopping with the aesthetics and the capability, we are going to be tickling its gooch in all the right ways, if you know what I mean. So let's pop the bonnet and have a look, shall we? Now, this is the 1VD FTVDX9Q. I don't know what the engine code is, but it's a 4.5 single turbo diesel V8. There's no secret, these things are pretty slouchy in their factory form, so we're going to be doing a few things about that. This car was already tuned. I do not like the tune. I think there is a lot more to be had in it. I don't know who tuned it, but I don't like it. It's got a heavy duty clutch in there already though, so that does save us a little bit of time and money. It also has a DPF back 4-inch exhaust, which is fantastic. It's also got a catch can and a pre-filter, which we're going to leave in there because obviously we're going to be doing some remote touring. The fuel is probably going to be dog shit quality and we want all the safety we can get. Factory airbox will be going in the bin. We'll either be replacing that with a radius fabrication or an HD Auto option. I believe this intake pipe will be getting put in the bin and also replaced, and this Safari snorkel we might be swapping out with a stainless snorkel from Richie and the team at Radius Fabrication with a bit of luck, just to wake this thing up a bit, give it a bit more sound and give it all the power we can. We're then going to take it to HD Automotive. They're going to flash this thing back to stock so that we can see exactly the start point that you guys would be starting from if you were about to tune your vehicle, and then we're going to give it a tune and see how much we can get out of this thing. And yeah, I think just neaten up under here a little bit. We might also look at putting a set of the thermo fans on the intercooler. I know that's a popular mod, especially if you're doing a lot of dusty stuff, a lot of slow moving tracks and that sort of thing, to keep that airflow going through the front here. Other than that, I think that's about it we're going to be doing for the performance side of things. Now I know it's all about horsepower and ponies in my world and nitrous and ethanol, but there comes a time when you decide, you know what, maybe a stock, nice, reliable, unmolested vehicle is what you need to tour around Australia in, and that's what this thing's going to be. So we don't want to f it too much. We want to keep it nice and reliable. So fingers crossed, that is what this car is. We're also going to be using this car to tow my car and this thing to all the four-wheel drive shows around Australia this year as well. So whilst I say we're doing a bit of a lap, What I also mean is we're going to be doing a lot of traveling, starting in New South Wales, heading south, Victoria, Tassie, SA, up to the Red Centre, and then all the way up to the tip of Queensland. I think we're going to leave WA for another time, but who knows? We've got nothing but time up our sleeves. But doing all that, we're also going to be shuttling back and forth from destination to the East Coast, making it to the Brizzy, the Melbourne, the Sydney full drive shows, potentially Adelaide, who knows? If you guys drop a comment and you want us to come to Adelaide, bloody let us know. But I think that's pretty much the plan. Now, don't get me wrong, you're preaching to the choir when I say I know 79s have been done to death. You got to look at it from my perspective. There's no way I was going to go out and buy a whole new car to build and tour in when I had a perfectly good 79 sitting ready to be used and a little bit, slightly abused, but that's okay. Don't tell the boss. I cannot wait to build this thing up. I cannot wait to show you guys the nitty gritty details of a bit more of a budget build and a reliable, fully legal build. We're going to keep this one simple because obviously I don't want dramas while we're out on the road. I'm going to bring you guys along for every step of the process. Now, if there's any modifications, anything you would like to see done to that thing right there that we haven't spoken about or that you think we could include in this build to make it a little bit interesting, do drop a comment on this video and let me know, because Rihanna and I are all ears. We want this thing to be cool, reliable. We want it to be livable, comfortable. We've got to be able to work out of it. We're going to be taking 2 dogs on this trip as well. So the back seat is pretty much all dog haven. So if you've got tips and tricks for that as well, let us know in the comments. Anyway, this is going to be predominantly what you're seeing on the channel for the next couple of weeks. We're going to be building this thing up. We're going to be heading off on our trip very soon. We're going to be hopefully doing a little trip for the 80 series as well before we take off. There's a lot happening, guys. I'm excited to bring you along for the ride. Like and subscribe. Appreciate the support. Happy New Year. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace and love.